I did share this on the Tuesday private member call last week. I'm going to share it here. I meditate every day for at least a minimum of an hour, sometimes more. Anyways, I was coming out of meditation. So this is last, I think it was maybe Monday evening after the call. Anyway, I'm in meditation and I hear the words so crystal clear. Karen, you are now released from bondage. I'm like, yay, thank you. Here's to living above the line in our superpower every single moment. This is possible for all of us when we're really connected to our higher self, the source. We are here to live in freedom. Okay. Welcome to Life Force Canada. We're so excited to announce that we've had an increase in membership. Yay! More men and women are seeking to learn and step into living free in all areas of their life. It's so necessary. Tonight, we're going to be having a sovereign living recap. The one thing that everyone says about the event, the Sovereign Living 2-day live event that we just had, is that we connect all the dots in a way that makes sense. So thank you for all of you who attended. The chat is open, so please say hello. Let us know where you're from, because this is actually, these Monday connection calls are exactly that. They are here to connect you with others in your area and in your province so that you can create freedom and learn from each other. Create those pods, life force pods in your community. Excellent. Okay, we do have a lot to share this evening, so I'm going to continue. Okay, now, for those who attended the event, we would love to hear your thoughts when we have the Q&A. And again, the Sovereign Living recap includes the truth about sovereign living. We do not believe in revenge, and I'm going to tell you why I said that. Their birth certificate slave system, why we need to exit all the systems. We all know why. Freedom mindset, so key. Yes, we're here to be prosperous. And of course, Laura Jane is going to recap her amazing day and what it really means to discharge debts and contract law, etc. Okay, so before we get into recap, we have a few announcements. Karen Hanna.
If you were on our call with Jerry talking about taxes, we do have a course coming up on April 13th, and I'm going to post that link into the chat. So this is going to be a one-day course. It's 3 hours on April 13th. So if you've got any tax question that you've kind of been sitting on that have been unresolved, wondering what action you might want to take, then do go to our webpage. Like I said, I'll put it into the chat. Dissolving tax issues coming up April 13th.
Thank you, Karen. And I know that you just drove from Alberta to Manitoba today. So you've had a full day. So thank you so much for being here. Who knows about the carbon tax challenge on April 1st? So they plan on increasing carbon tax April 1st, right? It's Fool's Day for a reason. So many are taking the carbon tax challenge in Canada, not buying gas or diesel that week. So everyone is filling up their vehicle on March 31st and then not buying for that week, especially April 1st. So yeah, it's going around on social media. So I just wanted to bring that up. Make sure you fill your car up prior to. I mean, really, we exhale carbon and the trees inhale. So crazy. Okay. Oh yeah, did you hear? I've heard this a while ago, but we haven't really discussed it. But New Year's Day is actually on April 1st, and it's why they call April Fool's Day what it is, because they've been fooling us about the actual calendar. Yes, humanity is waking up. Okay, the truth about sovereign living. We do not believe in revenge. You're most likely wondering why I said that in the email that I sent out, because of course we don't, believe in revenge or violence. We're the complete opposite of that. However, there is a memo of law that is circulating warning lawyers and others about the OPCA movement. It's apparently a growing phenomena in the Canadian legal scene. So thank you for Tony for sharing this. The OPCA is the organized pseudo-legal commercial argument that that supposedly you as a lawyer may come into contact with. And yeah, we are not going to go over the documents this evening. Karen Hanna is going to be sharing them in the chat. You can read them for yourself, but I will share their conclusion. So I do recommend that when you read through it, you feel into the fear, because it does bring up fear. It might bring up anger. That's what it's intended to do. And that's why learning, right? This is why we're teaching emotional mastery, self-mastery. We know that love is our superpower. So I sent these documents to my awesome friend Doris, who's a lawyer, and she started Lawyers4Truth. Many of you are aware of who she is, and she hadn't seen them yet. And so I shared with her. Doris, you're here, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your take on it when you read through it.
I am here. Hi. Hi, Karen. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I read through the one document. I haven't got through the second. It's actually a very frustrating read, but it's actually kind of encouraging, because the fact that they have to keep writing about it means that I think it's catching on. So
Yes.
that part's really good. But when you do read it, it for a lawyer, for sure, it does for sure scare them, right? Because it's like, you don't want to be around anyone that's making these OPCA type arguments, right? Like they paint them as dangerous and violent. And I mean, it does say something about, like, we can't really legislate against it. It's too complicated, but here's sort of a general idea of, the things to look for. They use the little I, or, and it kind of goes through a bunch of, like, sort of OPCA type language or whatever that's commonly used. So they're kind of like these are the things to look out for. But I guess what's really woken me up recently is the fact that lawyers are gatekeepers as to who accesses the court. And it's not something that I even realized, prior to the last few years, right? So and then, now when you see, somebody's actually really studied the OPCA phenomenon, and, has gone through the trouble of compiling examples, and, it, it actually talks about the Las Vegas shooter and says, like, he was likely influenced by pseudo law.
Yes. A
So
pseudo law guru.
yeah. Oh, and who knows if the whole Vegas shooting even really
Exactly.
occurred, at least the way they said that it occurred, right? So yeah, it's quite an interesting read, and but it's really frustrating. It's again how they leave out, the important things, like the tyranny during the pandemic, right? Like, and they do link it to the pandemic. He talks about, like, social stressors actually sort of creating this surge of OPCA litigants and that, but never mentions at all, like, the tyranny that we all faced, or the excess deaths that have been caused by vaccine. It's completely silent on all of that. So somebody that's reading it and isn't critical is going to just be like, oh my God, I got to stay away from these types of people. But, and especially a lawyer, because it talks about, yeah, even though we can't legislate it, we can use some of the tools that we already have, like vexatious litigants, for example, is something that's, in the rules of court and that kind of thing. And so, vexatious litigants can be fined or stuck with a bunch of court costs and that kind of thing. So it does, it does suggest that there's ways of making your life very difficult if you kind of go near. It was also very contradictory. They talk about the OPCA litigant as being hateful and violent, sort of in one paragraph. And then in the next paragraph, it says that law is our weapon, right? Like we're not actually resorting to explosives or firearms or something like that. So a lot of the contradictions were in there. And then basically the one article that I did read concluded that a mass casualty event is inevitable in Canada, motivated by pseudo law is inevitable. So it gives you a flavor of
Their conclusion, oh my gosh, I have it up here on my computer. So their conclusion with free men on the land is there can be no debate that violence is critical to that imagined empowerment. Pseudo law adherents are often hateful, if not enraged. They openly
yeah.
dream of revenge, retribution against those they fear and despise and resent. Some pseudo-law populations are somewhat discreet about that, but a violent subtext is almost always present. I was like, oh my God.
Mhm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. I guess the one thing, the one point I want to make about it is like a lot of times people think that, oh, all the lawyers are in a club, right? Like that we're all
Yes.
sort of working against you, but we're just as brainwashed as everybody else, right? Like we're subjected to this type of messaging all the time. And you know what? We're not getting any sort of special benefit or whatever, just because we're lawyers, that kind of thing. Like we're out there and we believe that the justice system was set up so that
Yeah.
an injured party could go get, could be compensated or whatever, like
All about
various things.
justice.
So yeah, it's all about justice. And
Yeah.
so lawyers really believe that too. And to this day do. Like, I mean, for me now it's very obvious that it's not about that at all. And we are essentially gatekeepers and all of that. But to most lawyers, like they're still completely asleep to that. So here's a perfect example of how they do it.
Thank you, Doris, for mentioning that. I so appreciate that you shared this evening. I think it was important for us to mention these documents and for people to read them and yeah, get some clarity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting read. So if you have time, I would suggest going through it. And, and again, when I read this, it like reinforces to me that that is the truth. I've done quite a bit of research trying to find the truth in all this. But any case that I've come across, the person was slammed in the end, right? Who brought up the pseudo-legal type arguments. And Naomi R. Bobby, she was a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
She went and, of course, CBC wrote all about it, that kind of thing. But then I also always hear that there are a lot of people who are super successful with it. And it's like, well, those cases don't get reported, right? So
You don't hear about them.
you don't hear about them. Or I hear about like how they're put on the last of the list for the, on the docket so that the courtroom is cleared by the time um, that case is heard. So yeah, I'd be super curious to know how many success cases there are, but
Mhm.
that's not something that's easy to find.
Well, grateful for you, Doris. Yay. We
I'll
celebrate
keep
you.
looking. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And always remember, everyone, that there are no gurus, right? Guru means, gee, you are you. So you're here to follow your own higher self, your own inner wisdom. You're here to learn from others, absolutely. However, as a sovereign, you're here to be self-governing, self-responsible, and self-reliant, which means taking steps to exit from all of these systems. So I'm going to just speak into this for a moment as well. Thank you, Jacqueline. Yes. What a world we live in. Okay, speaking of systems, I want to talk about the birth certificate system for a moment. Well, I received my certified true copy of registration document. And it only actually took me 2 weeks to receive. So I was born in Vancouver, and so I had to go through vital statistics in Victoria. And Doris was kind enough to notarize, stamp a letter saying that, a guarantor letter. And so, yeah, I got it within 2 weeks, ease and grace. Oh, and it came with a letter, and I just want to share my letter with you. This is from the supervisor, British Columbia Ministry of Health. As requested, please find enclosed a certified true copy of a registration document for genealogical research. Our records indicate the time of birth was recorded at 11:05 p.m. This information was not included on the birth registration form at the time this event was registered, but we have been able to obtain the information from the notification received from the attending physician at the time of this birth. I wonder how old my physician is. So yeah, I do recommend that you get your live birth. I know that you have to go through biostatistics. However, if you're born in Alberta, you can just go through the registry office. How simple is that? I know that some judges are now asking in court, can you prove that you are a living man or woman? And so that's happened in the US. It hasn't happened in Canada at all, but there's been a few times. Bill Turner has mentioned it. And so you do not need to prove to anyone that you exist as, in flesh and blood. However, they are playing games, as we know. Yeah, I'm trusting everyone here is going to have ease and grace in receiving theirs. Yeah, they only have jurisdiction over your person, your all caps name. They can do whatever they want to that false identity. They can tax it, they can mandate it, they can control it. As a living man or woman, you are saying, no, I'm not playing that game anymore. Or we're learning how to play the game so that we can cross over from the public jurisdiction to the private and then go back into the public when we need to, step across the bridge again. And it's like, because the private can be overwhelming because we're all learning new information. And then we step back into the public, right? So it's this little dance that we do on that bridge. And we're learning to really step into our own power as we begin to exit. Now, as I shared over the weekend, when you're below the line, in fear, if you see in my book here, there's a line. When you're below the line, that's this here dark area is fear-based consciousness. And this is where the 8 billion collective consciousness resides. It's not who you are. You are here above the line. However, all the systems are designed to what? Keep us below the line so that we do not remember our amazing power. So the recap on the first day is I'm taking you to emotional mastery. I teach a 3-step emotional integrity process, and it's so powerful. It is available in the Together We Rise online course. Again, if we do not know how we're feeling, we are then disconnected from the energetic source, from our life force, from the God frequency that is within you. So at the top of every system, I share this chart. You can't really see it here. The very bottom is the debt slavery system. Very, very bottom. There's like hundreds of words here. The designer made it really small. But at the very bottom, just above the human debt slavery system is a little tiny box. And this is where the word government is. So above the government is all these different tiers. So we need to release our fear of government. We need to let go of our anger towards government because, again, government is all fakery. They don't really exist. It's all just, right? It's like Toto moving the curtain. It's really important to remember that we're not fighting flesh and blood. There is invisible forces that are against us. And so we're learning how to dissolve the fear of these invisible powers. And we're learning to, what is one of our t-shirts at LifeForce Canada? One of my favorites is the acronym of FEAR. Face everything and rise. That's what we're here to do. Face it all. Face our fears, and all of a sudden they dissolve. And you're wondering why you were so fearful of them or anything or anyone, right? So we all know at the top of every one of these systems, so if we look at a pyramid, the political system is satanic at the top, right? They're sacrificing children. Healthcare system has its own pyramid. Political system, as I mentioned, education system, the entertainment system, the banking system, the legal system. And again, no one knows because everyone is what? Compartmentalized for a reason. That's why Doris was sharing, right? Lawyers down at the very bottom here, they don't know what's going on. Everyone in every system, they have no idea. So there are great people in these systems. There are very good people in these systems. There are the family members and friends in these systems. They have no idea of the system that they are working in and what's at the top. And so our Sovereign Living Weekend is showcasing the true reality of the world, this three-dimensional density world that we live in, and how we need to take our power back, our divine power, okay? Now, talking about divine power, this is a freedom mindset that I share on Saturday. We need to go from surviving to thriving. We need to actually delete that word, surviving. Delete it from your vocabulary. It's like you're only going to be saying thriving. I'm thriving. I'm thriving. You're owning it. I'm thriving. I am prosperous. Because we do live in a prosperous reality. So say this to yourself. This is a rich universe. And there's plenty for all of us. Let's say it again. This is a rich universe. And there's plenty for all of us. And know this to be true. Lack and all things in lack-based consciousness are all lies that have been programmed within us to believe. How many of you have bought your book, Project 369? This is a really powerful book because it gets you sharing and really thinking about what you want to manifest in your reality. And really writing down powerful affirmations. And how many of you bought the freedom, living in the freedom frequency? I wrote this book 15 years ago. Little did I know that I wrote it for this time that we're in right now. We are all here to live in the freedom frequency of life. Below the line is where they want you. So below the line again, that's for all the systems. So it's the healthcare system is here below the line, legal system, banking system, all of it. All frequency generated to keep you in a prison, a mental prison. It's all about mind control. So at LifeForce Canada, we're sharing with you the truth. We're sharing with you how to empower your mind and really take that elevator down to the heart. Because again, love is our superpower. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate you. So again, it's remembering that our thoughts go out into the field the energetic field, because we all have an energetic field, and they don't teach this in school, so most of humanity has no idea, and they're using this field against you. So the more we learn about our energetic field, I'm going to be having a presentation on this sometime soon, right? The brain has been in a state of hypnosis for the first 7 years, and they want people to stay in the hypnotic realm. So our brain is like a computer. You are not a computer, but our brain is like a computer, and it's programmable. And the custodians of this realm, they know, they know that your brain is programmable. And that's why, right, we're constantly being bombarded with these images. So we're being called right now to upgrade the programming. So what you do not know disempowers you. So the more you're feeding yourself higher knowledge, right? Higher knowledge is so key. Now, the programming, and sometimes we can say, oh yeah, I'm doing really good. And then all of a sudden, I'm trusting that you're not watching TV, but if you are, there's the McDonald's commercial, and it's all designed. Oh, McDonald's burger. Oh, I'm going to go drive to McDonald's and get a burger. Or you'll remember that imagery. And when you're out about, it's like, oh, because you remember yourself going to McDonald's your whole entire life. And all of a sudden you're driving through the drive-through or whatever it is, right? It's like, ugh, I can't even think of that. Anyways, or on a television show, you're watching a movie and they're eating Doritos. It's all programming. And then all of a sudden you're shopping and your hand goes out to grab the Dorito bag. That is the hypnotic state. When you're buying things that you just know are not good for you, but you're still doing it anyways. Right? So we have to bring those habits into conscious awareness. Oh, yeah, I don't want that product anymore. Oh, I don't want that product anymore. And it is really all about letting go right now. It's all about letting go, and replacing the letting go with something that really serves your soul. And in the course as well, we talk about letting go of words, right? Good morning. So at Life Force Canada, we say good rising because we don't need to mourn, right? We don't need to mourn through our life every day. And another expression that we have is hell yeah. How many of you say hell yeah when you're making a commitment or you have enthusiasm towards something? Hell yeah. Okay. I don't think we want to live in hell anymore, right? That's below the line. So let's learn new words and shift our vocabulary to remembering the reality that we want to live in. Maybe we say heaven, yeah, or whatever it is, right? We can think of something. Okay, Laura Jane, that's my recap of day 1. And really, it's all about all of us allowing for us to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged, and to no longer be afraid of love. And because this reality teaches people to be afraid of love. Yes, we yearn for love. We say, I love you to others, but there's a subconscious program that says, love hurts, love stinks, whatever it is, right? So we need to really step into dissolving the ego mind and putting that ego back in the passenger seat and bringing our soul to drive our life forward. Okay, this is so important as we take our journey to sovereign living. Thank you. And so, Laura, yes, Laura Jane.
Oh, thank you, Karen. That was a wonderful recap. As you were talking about the going between the public and the private, the dance between the two of them, I called it the public-private polka. So we're doing that polka all the time. When we do the day 2, what we're really looking at is to take all of that mastery and all of that sense of who and what we truly are and what we're meant to be. And then we we start to put some tools around it and sort of give a deeper understanding of how we go forward with that information. And that's why day one is so critical, because unless you are feeling comfortable and standing in that, or at least comprehend how that self-mastery is a deep requirement for holding your position as a sovereign when challenged, the rest of the material, you won't be able to stand in it, and you'll potentially slip below the line and back into fear. So what we talk about on day two is just a recap of the birth certificate trust, because that trust is what we do the discharge of debt from. We are actually directing the Bank of Canada to take from our trust account and discharge the debts that have been placed upon us. And they're not really debts. It's just a matter of they have let us believe that. And so that is something that we have to really know, where are we drawing this from? And it's completely legal, completely lawful. They created the trust, and we're the beneficiaries of that trust. And as a beneficiary, I can direct whoever is looking at that trust, and I can direct them where and how I would like to have that distributed. Then we look at contract and trust law. Everything that we are doing in this discharging of debt is all legal and lawful. And so the more that we can understand the rules of the game, which is trust law and contract law, because the whole world is commerce. That's how everything is run. Since 1933, that was when we moved out of having any money. Gold and silver were all confiscated. And so there is no money, so nobody can pay a debt. We can't pay a debt with a debt, which is what we're trying to do. And so we do have to comprehend what a contract and trust law are, so that we can, in fact, move forward with confidence when we're discharging this. And then we actually talk about discharging debt, and that is under the bills of exchange in Canada, and in the United States they refer to the UCC. But Canada's bills of exchange is a little behind the UCC, but there is still really critical components that we use, and that we learn how to properly endorse a presentment. A presentment is anything that is given to us as a bill. And a bill is basically, it's just that, it's always in the positive. You never see a negative number in front of a statement that you have, which is a presentment. So if you get your MasterCard, Visa, or whatever Amex bill, so-called bill, that is never in the negative, because it is a bill. It's actually a check. So we learn how to complete that check and return it and get it discharged. And we just discharge debt. We don't pay debt, because we have nothing to pay it with. The world is a debit credit ledger. And so all we're doing when we are discharging a debt is we're balancing the ledger, and we're remembering that we are the creators of this energy that allows for this to even happen. So think of creditor as a creator, because we are creating. And so that's what we talk about. So there are tools that are done, ways that we can actually endorse our presentments, and where to send them to get them directed. And this is ever evolving, and we're still working on it. Remember, people say to me, well, prove to me that this will work. Well, guess what? This is the first time as sovereigns, as trailblazers, that we are taking this. So can we definitively prove it? No. Only way we're going to prove that it works is by doing it. And so there are a lot that are stepping up and doing this. That's why we're finding they're starting to realize that we're catching on. And so they are trying to put blocks and obstacles in our path. But we know, as self-mastery, self-governing, that these blocks are artificial. And so we can overcome them very much so, just in going inward and asking and working through our higher self. Those are the things that we cover. The discharging debt is really important because when we live free, I mean, think about what would it be like? No rent, no mortgage, no car payment. What would you do with that? Would you continue to toil at a job to earn money that the tax man takes and to be unhappy? Or would you have that
Great.
energy? Yeah, exactly. So it's really about taking back that energy and allowing you to use that energy in the things you love to do, right? And not being part of a slave system, but having the freedom from not having to go out and toil and give them the so-called money that they pay you, which is a joke because it's all our money to begin with. We are the only ones that can create any kind of energy. So it's really about freeing ourselves up to be what we always were meant to be, abundant, and to have all of that at our disposal, and to know that we live in a prosperous time, as it has always been, and to truly experience the abundance and the freedom and the joy that comes with that abundance. Okay, so that's a little bit about why we do what we do on day 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura Jane. The whole weekend was just phenomenal. We also had Kenny there from Sovereign Gold. Laura Jane and I, we just had the opportunity to spend time with him this weekend. He had a Sovereign Gold event and offered Laura Jane and I the opportunity to have a booth there. They had a little mini trade show. Dan was there too, and he was selling silver, which is fantastic. I believe again in diversifying, and I just love what Kenny had to say. And we're gonna have him on. What date are we having? Karen Hanna, is Kenny from Sovereign Gold on? I think it's
The 25th, yes,
Yeah.
March 25th,
excellent.
next Monday.
Highly recommend you are here for that. It's not just Kenny that's going to be here. One of the founders, Wes, and I do believe Wes is in Turkey right now, but he's going to take a moment to be on the call as well. So Karen, love to hear your take on the weekend. It was so great to spend time with Karen of the family, Hannah. I just adore you and all you do for Life Force Canada, and it was just so great to see you shining as well.
Thank you. Yes, this was my first Sovereign Living weekend, and I just thought it was just a wonderful balance with Karen presenting on the Saturday and then Laura Jane on the Sunday. So what really is amazing is just what we're seeing happening, I think, with our Life Force Canada family. You know, that experience of together face to face, meeting each other and working, you know, all these like minds that are interested in these same topics that we talk about every week. It's just great to gather in person. So I really encourage you to do whatever you can to get to the next Sovereign Living weekend. You know, even if it means planning a vacation or something around that, then I really encourage you to do so. And I want to mention too that we're seeing the same thing happen with our private members group. Have these men and women coming together and taking action on these things, dissolving their debts and stepping into their sovereignty. So it's awesome. Thank you very much. And thank you for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Karen. What I love seeing when I was in the back of the room and Laura Jane was speaking on Sunday was people connecting for the very first time and seeing each other for the very first time. They've been on Zoom together for years, but this is the first time they met in the physical. And then also seeing people who, hey, I'm from Ontario. Hey, I'm from Ontario too. And them connecting for the first time. It was just so beautiful to see the energy and everyone with such an incredible learning attitude. And even though they were in overwhelm, they knew that their subconscious mind was getting all the information. The conscious mind was just, uh, taking it all in, because there's a lot of information to absorb as we move forward. But they didn't let that stop them. They just continued to learn from each other and from us, and our weekend is not just about you learning from myself or from Laura Jane, the experts, or whoever's in the front of the room. You're all learning from each other, and that was so amazing to witness as well. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I want to say a heartfelt thanks for all of you putting it together, putting that weekend together. I was so glad that I went. On day one, it turned out that I learned things that I didn't even know I needed to learn. I came away from it that same evening, recognizing that I had areas that needed growth and some change and so forth that were facilitated on day one. So I'm really happy about that. On day two, and so I realized that day one is necessary and it's really good. Day two, I saw there was a lot of people trailing around, trying to get questions answered on the process itself when we actually dove into the material on discharging the debt. I think that there could have been more time spent on that aspect of it. I think that Laura Jane was answering, she was just hounded left and right everywhere she went. She had a tour following her around. So I think that would indicate, I mean, that was really good. I got a lot from it, but I think that we could spend more time on getting more of the technical aspects answered. But it was great. And you know what? The next one, am I going to go again? Absolutely. And when I go up the next time, I'm going to be one of those guys saying, this is what I did and this is how I was successful. And I can show and teach other people and say, look at this is what I did. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really encouraged to do it again and meeting the people there again. It was great. Not just, faces on a screen. I got to meet people. So thank you again for that.
Thank you, Aaron. We so appreciate your words. This course could be a 10-day event. And so unfortunately, because we only have allotted a certain amount of time, we know we so get it. And this is what people have been bringing up for years now in Life Force Canada and in other freedom movements. And this is why Laura Jane now is creating a discharging debt course. So Laura Jane, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Karen. Aaron, those are very excellent feedback. I appreciate it. With the discharging debt, I recognize very much that folks had a lot of questions and that they were still not really comfortable with the process. And trust me, it takes a long time to get comfortable with this process. It doesn't happen overnight because it's not something we're taught. And in fact, the whole process, just comprehending how we are a creditor, not a debtor, is counterintuitive to what we've been taught. So it does mean we go through some cognitive dissonance before we can get to it. So with the discharging debt program, there will be a workbook that actually has a lot of the technicalities covered in it. We'll cover off what's necessary. Plus it will be the actual presentation of it. And I am hoping that some of the debt discharge examples can come forward through that. I know there's at least 2 folks that are working on it and myself included. So hopefully I'll be able to discuss what happened with Capital One car loan and all of those things as well in the course. But it will be more in the detail oriented type of area that you're looking for, Aaron. And with that, I'll yield unless there's something you want to add, Karen, that I might have forgot.
That's great, Laura Jane. Thank you. It is a journey. It's a journey for all of us. And everyone's at different levels of consciousness. So there's some people that they've never even heard of discharging debt before, and others have been involved in it for about a year or so. So again, I think this is a really important topic that we're going to be discussing more. And we do talk about this in our private members on Tuesday evening. This is something that we're going to be really focusing on more and more as we proceed. Kathy, go ahead.
It was a wonderful weekend, and I thank you both very much. It was quite an experience. There was 3 of us that traveled together, and it didn't work out so well, but it gave me an opportunity to have an observer see the struggles that I was going through and how to look at them from a different perspective. And then we had the course, and I've been looking forward to having something with a bit of meat so that I can go and do some action. I've just felt very stalemated, and I think what was brought forth was really good. The second day, Laura Jane, that was the first I'd ever heard of that. So it was a little bit hard to digest all of that, but a very good weekend. And I thank you very much for putting it on.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, the Sovereign Living is a powerful weekend course that is an introduction to so much of this reality that we need to know. And yes, as we move forward, we're going to be creating more events, 100%. But again, it was an introduction, and it is mind-blowing because we haven't been taught any of this. And so, yeah, we always remind everyone that you're going to feel overwhelmed, but just to trust that your subconscious mind is getting all the information, and when you need it, it's going to be there 100%. Once we have Bill share, then we're going to have Esther come on in regard to LiveWAVE. I need to leave early myself, so Laura Jane and Karen Hannah are going to take any more questions that people have. Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I haven't had the joy of being in a sovereign latest one. We were in the sovereign light where you were just coming out of the blocks and you were going hell bent for leather.
Yes.
So it wasn't light. I'm being facetious, but I think there's something that we all need to recognize in ourselves. I don't know anybody at the age of 4, 5, or 6 that can conjugate a verb. I don't think they know what that means. In fact, I know people at 50 that don't know what that means, but that's a separate conversation as well. You guys are giving us things. People are bringing things to us that for those of us, I was in the political arena for 50 years of my life, almost 60 years of my life. I taught mediation courses. I taught conflict resolution. This is way different. This is a whole different soup. And so and of course I want to have okay, well then let me do this, 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 and this, and this, and just give me the 5 steps and I can do them. We need to have it so that it's inside us, because if I try to start teaching somebody how to conjugate a verb before they even know what a verb is, we're going to be in struggle. We're going to be and we're going to goof up and we're going to fall on our nose. So there's a place in what you're doing. Yes, it's a 101. I like that comment by Aaron. It's like a 101 course, but there is a difference here, because the only way to make sovereignty work is to experience it. That's the only way. You can't, oh, I learned this on a weekend course, I can now do this.
Yeah.
I drove race cars, and I'm going to tell you right now, watching somebody drive at 140 kilometers an hour that doesn't do that often, when I've been able to do it at 200 or 240 kilometers an hour or more, I'm nervous with them, and they are definitely nervous with me. Because when I drive fast, and I don't drive that fast on the roads anymore because it's not safe, people, at least on a racetrack, they're all going the same direction. You can't count on that when you're on the road. So there's a place, you guys are providing us something that will allow us to rocket to the moon. And we have lots to build into our DNA and build into our systems before we can actually go and be brilliant about it. And again, we went, when did we go, Esther? It was
Last May, I think.
Last May, yeah. So, and we just now applied for our little birth things, like, because I need to wrap my head around and totally get it. And
Yes.
I'm getting it, and it takes time, and I'm an impatient. I don't have time for this. I want to have this done. Why can't I sign all the T's, dot all the I's? We're done. Oh, that sounded legal. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's it. I'm done. I'll lower my hand.
Thank you, Bill. And I do believe, because everything is changing, we're moving out of complication, we're moving out of that complicated reality into simplicity. And I think the more that we're all learning, eventually we're going to get to that place where we don't need the red ink, we don't need the blue ink, right? It's like, and it's going to be incredible and everyone is going to go have this aha moment, because now we've shifted out, as you said, it's an inside job. And we need to let go of the complication within ourselves before we can truly see the simplicity of where we're going. So thank you, Bill. Appreciate your words. Claire and Carol, who are in Mexico.
I won't take long because I know we've got other things going, but just want to go along with what Bill was saying and expand a little bit on actually just a ditto. But this is, as we said, this is the third time we've done it. And each time we've done it, we have learned more, we have understood more. It's become more a part of us. And I think that's what it is. If you're going into it without having any idea, you have to unlearn before you can learn.
Yeah.
And as we go through it, and the same with the private members, the Tuesday night things in here, it just is becoming a part of us. And so that is such an important thing. And that's what the Saturday course does, is helping us to become a part of being above the line, so that we're not even worried about this other stuff, because we already have that freedom within us. With that, I yield.
Beautiful. Carol, did you want to share anything?
Well, it was just the same for me too, because it becomes more normal as we go along. To begin with, it just seems, really, this is really the way it is. And the more we learn, each time we learn something new, it just becomes part of us. And it takes time to do that, because it's so different from everything that we've ever believed. And we can't do it overnight, but for it to become part of us.
Beautifully expressed, both of you. Thank you. So grateful. And I'm looking forward to seeing all your photos. Okay, enjoy the rest of your vacation, you two. Gary, hi.
Yeah, it was a great weekend being with like-minded people, because it gets, I don't know if lonely is the correct word, but you're just not, I was in my environment. Yes, I can say lots of good information, well presented, to stand in this power, to do it, or and then we still might get some resistance, but if it's in our blood, we'll keep on going, and if there is resistance, we learn from that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate your words.
Thank you for everything you're doing. And like just a general of Life Force Canada, like this is so awesome. The speakers that you've been bringing the last, I don't know, yeah, I guess I've been a member for a year now. Some very important people, or knowledgeable people that are a wealth to us to learn, that you're bringing to the table.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, we have many more experts coming on board this year. It's very exciting. Appreciate you. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, LiveWAVE. By a show of hands, how many of you are in LiveWAVE? It is just so incredible on how many people are joining from LifeForce Canada. Yay, and changing lives. Oh my gosh. Esther, we're so appreciative of you and grateful for the time that you're giving LifeForce Canada members. And before you share, I just have a testimonial. My dad lives in North Vancouver with his new fiance. Yeah, my dad just got down on his knees at the age of 89. So cute. Anyway, so she's been suffering. Well, her hands have been swollen, like her knuckles have been swollen for decades, and pain in both of her hands. And so when Sandra and I went to Anacapulco, we had a layover in Vancouver. And so I got to have lunch with both of them. And so I gave her a packet of IceWave. And so, yes, or was it last week? She is on the phone with me Sunday night. And she said, Karen, those things that you gave me, those patches, I've been wearing them now since you gave them to me. They're all gone. And not only that, but my pain is gone and my swelling is gone. She goes, can you send me more, please? Yeah, so that is incredible. So yeah, so now I talked to her again and she's like, I went on the website and I think I want to join. I've been sharing my newfound hands with my friends and they want to know my secret. So I thought I'd share that. So thank you, Esther.
Oh, that is such a great testimonial, Karen. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. And I won't keep you all long, but I was just on a call before this call, and one of the things we were talking about is before LiveWAVE and after LiveWAVE. And I want to give you just a glimpse. I was 59. I just turned 60 this year, about a month ago, and I was 59. I knew my hormones, I'm getting personal here, you'll have to bear with me. My hormones were out of whack, but I didn't know what to do. I don't have a medical doctor, and there's no likelihood of me getting a medical doctor to go and get the tests and find out. And I believe in complementary health. And I just happen to be at the place in my life where I can't spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and go to see all those practitioners all at once. But my skin was starting to really get wrinkly and loose, and I eat organic food. I drink clear, pure water. I exercise. I am high energy and a very positive person, but I could feel my body not doing well at all, and I didn't know what to do. And someone introduced this to us, and we started because of Bill and his pain. He had an injury in his hip, and he was having serious discomfort and limping, and he could barely move. And so somebody put LiveWAVE patches on him, and within about 30 minutes, his pain was reduced by 80%. And it's been a journey of about 6 months of those LiveWAVE patches, and then X39. If you don't know about it, don't worry, you don't have to know it of it all. But when the healing started to come, and we went for a walk, he and me, for the first time in since last spring. And so this is amazing. And what I'm feeling is my life is in a different place of hope, because I kind of gave up and went, well, I guess that's how it goes. And there's no help for it. And it's not true. And so with all of the things that we do, like really good food and clean water and movement and exercise and living above the line, sometimes our bodies need something else to get our base building block cells back to where they have been, in a healthy place, so they can do the tissue repair, so they can go into the different organs and do what they need to do. And I know that I'm on this journey. So on Wednesday nights, most Wednesday nights, I will be doing an introduction overview, and you can see some pictures of people's befores and afters, and know that it takes a bit of time. But I just heard from a guy in Texas tonight, and he said his prostate shrank by 10 points over the course of a few months. And I'm like, wow, if that's the kind of thing that can be happening, that's just one thing. And I'm on the lowest dose of thyroid medication I've been in decades, maybe ever. So that's the kind of power that something really simple that you put on your body and you wear and you go about your life. It doesn't have to be plugged in. It doesn't have to be charged. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. You just buy one sleeve of it and you wear it for 12 hours every day, and then you go to sleep.
And you don't have to follow anything.
No, there's no sprays. I'm sorry, Claire and Carol, I love your protocol that I'm in the 3rd month, and boy, am I feeling it, of the heavy metal detox, which is good because I've never done one. And I think the patches are doing their thing with it too. But you just go about your life and know that it's giving your body what you need. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you. Yes, there's, again, just like in the banking system, we're looking at diversifying gold and then buying silver. And over here in our natural medicine realm, right? We've got homeopathic, naturopathic, LiveWAVE, we've got, massage and movement, etc. So we're moving out of exiting from that sick care system And I'm just so grateful that Esther has the LiveWAVE Wednesdays. If you haven't been on one of the calls yet to check it out, highly recommend you do. Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, on a completely different note, and I don't care what anybody thinks about Mercola, but Joseph Mercola has been screaming at the whole world for the last 25 years. The government's just backed off him, and here's what he just said. They removed all restrictions on their content. They've migrated all the content from censored library on Substract, where the only way to get at it was to pay for it. He said, we're going to refund everybody that paid their subscription fees. So all the content will again be available on Mercola.com for free. That is a huge change. Wow. He's of the opinion that he's impacted their medical systems, and he's not very supportive of them at all, $100 billion in 25 years. And he says, I'm back on track. We're going to keep going after him because they shouldn't be doing the stuff they're doing. So it just came out of the blue for him because he's been really harassed. His bank accounts were shut down and everything else. And again, you don't have to like all the stuff he pitches. I don't care about that. He's in the alternative medicine side of the game, and they're pulling back the reins, which is really interesting. So I think that the groundswell that we're all involved in, I think they're starting to get some footing in a way that I didn't see this coming 4 or 5 months down ago. So that's kind of cool. Just passing that on.
Thank you for sharing, Bill. Everything that's not based on truth is going to be dissolving. I love it. So if you are not receiving the LiveWAVE Wednesday emails, then I recommend that you become a member. So just become a member, lifeforcecanada.ca. And every Wednesday around noon, the email goes out to every member, and you're welcome to check it out and join Esther and Bill on the call. Lori of the Family Brown.
Yes, just on backing up what Bill was saying, because I've been doing energy work for a while, I think that was the best thing that I found with the registry that you and Esther had created, because I sat back, I also am 60 years old, and I sat back there going, oh, I'll just tell people about me. I'm not gonna, and I'll just do it that way. But it really feels like more like I'm doing something in that. And I think that with the atrocities that have happened to us, that maybe it is going to be us on that registry that are going to be healing these people that took the poison. So I just think everything happened at perfect time. And I'm so grateful for the registry. Thank you both.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate you. We have Donald here. Laura Jane, I need to go. So if you can just take care of anyone here that has questions after Donald is completed, that'd be great. Thank you, everyone. I don't know how long I'm going to be. So if I'm not back here before 8:30, together we rise, everyone. Lots of love.
To put in a little pitch for Claire and Carol, they've got some systems inside their game and the whole mechanism that they've created for people who've had the shots and need some help to rebuilding their bodies. Whatever that system is, that's up to Claire and Carol to discuss, but I know that they're on that as part of their mission in life to ensure that those people are looked after. So that's very cool. So, and that's a paid political announcement. You paid me $100 million for
that. Then why aren't you in Mexico, Bill? All right. Thank you very much. And Donald, welcome. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Laura. And thanks to Karen for giving me a couple minutes. I don't normally take part. I get all the emails from Karen of LifeForce, but Karen did have the chance about a year ago to hear one of my presentations. A little over a year ago, I published this book about all the things that are going on in our world. It's called What the Hell's Going On? And the subtitle is The Web of Fraud That is Enslaving Everyone and How We Can Escape to Freedom. And I spent most of last year touring around Canada and speaking to freedom groups all across the country about ideas from that book. And people love the book, love my presentations. But they almost as soon as I started doing that, people started saying to me, well, you know, we're tired of talking about the problems. We want to talk about the solutions. So I thought, okay, I should pull together some of the solutions that were in that book and expand them a little bit and put a little essay together. Well, over the course of the last year, the essay kind of ballooned into another book, and I've just published it. It just became available last Friday on Amazon. And it's about, it focuses mainly on solutions. The title of the new book is The Way Forward. And again, it has a long subtitle. The subtitle is How to Escape the Totalitarian Control of the New World Order and Heal from Its Trauma. And I'm just about to start another cross-Canada book and speaking tour this year. I'll be dedicated April to British Columbia, May to Alberta and the Prairies, and then Ontario, June and July, and maybe sometime in the Maritimes in August. So I'll put some links, a link to the book in the chat, and also my email address and telephone number. If any of you are part of groups anywhere in Canada and you'd like me to come and share my ideas and my book with your community, please let me know, because I'm in the midst of setting up speaking engagements across Alberta and BC right now, and I'll soon start working on Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. I do provide a little bit of background for people who haven't read what the hell's going on, but not too much. And I describe what we're going through as a journey of awareness and transformation. So first we have to become aware of what's going on and how it works before we can, come up with appropriate and sensible ways to deal with it. And then we need to transform both ourselves and our communities into what we want them to be, because the communities and the country that we live in right now is definitely not the way we want it to be. So transformation is needed. And the bulk of the book focuses on an explanation of the three types of warfare that are being used against us: spiritual warfare, psychological warfare, and on the physical level, it's fifth generation warfare. So I explain a little bit about how those work, and then how we can sensibly respond to it. So it's really a very comprehensive book. A lot of people in Canada are doing a lot of good things, but I kind of go up and take the view from 30,000 feet, as it were, and kind of put together the bigger picture in terms of what we need to do, and how each person and each community and each freedom group needs to kind of set their own priorities and focus on creating ourselves as sovereign individuals, sovereign families, and sovereign communities. Love to come and share more ideas with you. Thanks very much for giving me the time.
Thank you, Donald. That was great. I love the fact that you've taken that high perspective and focused on solutions in your second book, because it is solutions that we are seeking, because it's the only way out of this entrapment that we're in. And the fact that you're bringing in the community perspective is so critical, because we're not going to do it alone. We really need to bring in that whole community. We've been separated and isolated for so long, and that is where with connecting, and which is why we do the live weekend. It's through that connection that we actually start to regenerate and remember who we truly are and how we connect with each other. And it's such an energetic uplift that we get when we do this. So, and thank you very much for your tiring travel across Canada and speaking to various groups. It's very rewarding, and really appreciate the work you do, Donald. Thank you. Yeah, I remember hearing about you from Joanne when I was living in BC on Vancouver Island. Yeah.
Joanne Brockway?
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah, good. She's been helping me set up some dates on the island. Yeah, I'll be there in a few weeks.
Yeah, she's very proactive. I love it. Yeah. All right. So another sovereign moment. So that's terrific. All right. So I think that we've had a great discussion, some wonderful topics covered, and I wish everyone a fantastic, beautiful week of inner standing and growth. Remember, so we're going to end this call now, and together we rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Jane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Thank
you, everyone.
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week.